Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good Friday afternoon. I mean, it's weather here could be better. Other than that, it's been a pretty decent day. This is Jimmy Pockets, aka James of Empty Pockets Garage, doing my Friday afternoon live stream. And I hope everybody's having a decent day themselves. I know it's been a good week for the incoming Trump administration. I was kind of sad to see Matt Gaetz dropping out, but something tells me that that might have been the plan the whole time. But who knows? I'm sure he's going to be put in some place that's going to be beneficial to help President Trump with his agenda. Hey Ray, hey Jeff, JD. I wanted to. I don't on my late night owl edition. I went over a whole bunch of stuff. That's when they were just dealing with the firing, the Biden changing his policy and allowing Ukraine to fire our short range or mid range missiles into Russia, which of course garnered a response from Russia, and they fired that mid range ballistic missile that's capable of carrying, I think they said up to eight warheads, nuclear warheads on the payload, and definitely a game changer if they decide to use those over Ukraine. It would probably not fare well for Ukraine at all. And for those who wasn't in the night owl edition of my live stream this week, use uh, I guess it'd be like low grade nuclear tactical weapons in Ukraine. That's bad. Don't get me wrong, that's bad to see several miles of life and property decimated and not livable for many, many years is bad. But my fear in that the other night, when I was pondering on that, was something that I seen Tulsi Gabbard talk about on X, and that's about all the biohazard infectious. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you, sir. I never ask nobody to do that. I thank you very much for that. Uh, you're a good person. Thank you. Um, but the biggest fear to me after I was listening to Tulsi Gabbard about what she was talking about her fears of all this is the fact that there's 25 to 30 of these infectious disease uh, labs in Ukraine that does these gain of function studies, just like what happened in uh, China, which we all remember COVID, and that's one infectious disease, COVID, which there are far worse out there to die from uh, that makes COVID COVID look just like what it was in the end, a super super bad flu. In the end, not in the beginning. But let's say they destroy one of these labs. But an infectious disease has no borders. Once it's out there, it's out there. Uh, it's a dangerous thing. It will affect the entire world. And depending on what they're studying in those labs, which we don't know, I'm sure somebody knows, but we don't know, is something in there could wipe out probably most of the population in this world And that's a scary thought. That's what I worry about. Saying that, it's almost like, I hate to say it, and I said it the other night, a nuclear weapon hitting one of those facilities is just the flash of the nuclear detonation would disintegrate those viruses and would probably do the world a favor if that was to happen at all. But I don't understand what the whole point of what Biden. Well, I mean, I do understand what he's doing. He's trying to muck it up so bad that these things that Trump is bragging about he can do, he's making it almost too difficult to do, to where there's going to be no turning back in some of these cases, to where it's going to escalate to something horrific. And hopefully that don't happen. Hopefully, even though he's just president-elect right now, he does have a little pull. We both know that he's already been in communications with Zelensky and Putin. Hopefully, calmer heads will prevail in this, and they'll de-escalate this a little bit. But Russia's not really helping out here on that either. I mean, now we got, I forget how many thousand, 5,000, I think it is, North Korean troops now in Russia. I suppose they're going to assist them in this fight. Now they got the communication lines in the ocean over there, supposedly severed by a Chinese vessel, which, come on, guys. Chinese vessel, and they said it was accidental. But, I mean, what can you say? Several months ago, it was Ukraine who, and they say CIA, which here we are getting involved in other people's shit, had something to do with the blowing up the pipeline, Russia's pipeline into Germany. This is getting totally out of hand. And I get everybody thinks they're right, and they think that Russia's trying to take over the world like Germany did back in the day, Hitler. When I'm pretty sure that he's been clear about his intentions on this whole deal. There's a certain part of Ukraine that they have always thought should be Russia, because it was, to me, if another, as bad as it sounds, if another land conquers that land and it's no longer your land anymore, 80 years later or 100 years later, whatever it may be, you decide you want it back, and then you do this. But that's not what it really is all about, guys. It's not about no history lesson with Putin. He wants that access to the ocean ports there in that old, I guess it used to be previous Soviet Union military base there. Should you buy an electric Porsche? Jeff, let me tell you something, sir. That's completely up to you. I know the electric Porsches are fast, and it just depends on how far you want to drive that thing, because I don't know, you can watch study after study after study, they can put in all the charging stations across the country they want. It still takes time to charge those, even if you don't need 100% charge. Because they say like first the first 40% charges fast, then first 80% charges kind of fast, but that 80 to 100% takes a long time to charge. Um, and then it depends on what kind of payload you're hauling. And of course you wouldn't be hauling much, maybe some luggage. Uh, but so if you plan on like taking some vacation trips in that Porsche, uh, the gas one, at least for now, and with modern technology as it is at this point, uh, because like I said, it's what you are wanting out of the vehicle. If you're not gonna, if the vehicle is good for 300 miles and you don't ever plan on driving any further than 300 miles without having the time to charge it all the way back up, then I like the electric vehicles. I like the Tesla. Um, I'm not a electric vehicle denier. I'm a hot rodder. I really like hot rods, and I love the sound of a nasty sounding big cam V8 engine. But saying that, you can't deny the torque that an electric vehicle has, and the just being quiet. I mean, just being that quiet's unreal. There you go, Jeff. I don't. Probably a lot of you guys have never seen at least my older car videos. I have a 2011 Challenger RS, and it's got the small block Hemi in it, but I've got a little. It's been tweaked a little bit. Let's just say that. Um, when I had to leave the workforce, and I was going to be uh, disabled, and so I had to take my retirement from FedEx. Uh, One of the things I did is I took a partial lump sum and then payments for my retirement there. So I took that partial lump sum and I bought myself that 2011. Now it was used, don't get me wrong, because it was 2014 when I bought it. But, feels good to walk in and go to a car lot and pay cash for something, especially if it's not a cheap car. But it's something that you always wanted. And I'd had some of their actual original Challengers that those Challengers are based off of. I had a couple of 71s and a 72, and really good cars. I enjoyed them and always wanted another one. So it's I still have that 2011 Challenger. It's one of my favorite things to drive, and it ain't that great on gas, at least not anymore. And it's loud. It's kind of obnoxious to a lot of people because it's got a it's got a serious exhaust system on it. It's not low tone like the factory ones are. Uh, Al, to rebuild a electric vehicle, I don't have a price on that because it depends on what's wrong with it. Because you have not only the batteries, but you have it, and in most cases, there's an electric motor at all four wheels, and then there's servos that control those. So then you have all the electronics that it talks to and the dash and all that stuff. So it just depends on what rebuilding is to that electric vehicle. They're not cheap. Batteries are definitely not cheap. Um, you can do a lot of the work yourself. I guess it's just like anything else. Uh, you know, parts is parts, and put the parts on yourself. But that's like I said, I'm not a electric vehicle denier, but I, I do like my gas powered vehicles. Now, if I could afford a Tesla, I'd own one, uh, but I can't. So it's not something I'm really. It's nothing in my. It's nothing in my bucket list I gotta fulfill before I pass away. So you know, we'll, we'll just say that. Um, but I used to hate electric cars, or at least the hybrids, because I used to hate hearing that sounding like a golf cart when they take off from a traffic light. Because they shut the motor shuts off, and the original ones, the original electric vehicles, it's like the batteries didn't stay charged very long, and then the hybrid actually charges itself, unlike a full-on electric vehicle, which you have to have a charging station somewhere. Yeah, I like diesel vehicles, trucks, especially trucks, because I'm from a trucking industry. Is I spent 42 years in the trucking industry working on trucking trailers, doing everything from mechanical body work, building them, uh, modifying them, just about anything you can imagine to a truck and trailer I've done. So I do have a love for diesel powered vehicles. And diesels, there was a time when diesel fuel was not more expensive than gas, and they started doing that price gouging deal, kind of like flipped in price as diesels become more popular as far as vehicles, like everyday driving vehicles, not just commercial trucks. So, saying that, diesels are kind of like, electric cars, the parts for them ain't cheap. Hopefully, you can work on it yourself. If not, you're going to pay good money for a diesel mechanic to work on it. Zero turn lawnmower. Yeah. Hey, Rusty, what's going on? Oh, let me get back to what I was talking about. Half price of gas. Okay. Yeah, as long as maintenance decent on it too. I mean, just like everything, you got to keep up on the maintenance, or else you'll find later on the thing will be nickel diming you to death. So I want to get back to my biggest fears about this whole short range ballistic missile thing and the infectious diseases labs in Ukraine. January 20th can't get here fast enough. And I hope everybody agrees with me on that. I'm sure you do. Um, I was watching some more of those left wing meltdown videos today. I tell you, those just don't get old. There's some crazy people in this world, and most of them are on the left. 70s, early 80s. 70s, early 80s, what now? Your lawnmower? Let me know what you're talking about. Maybe I missed something there. So, I won't cover that anymore. That's been covered a lot this week already. I just wanted to, for those who didn't see the Night Owl live stream the other night, to really pay attention to this infectious diseases labs that are in Ukraine, and we need to be very, very aware of them. And in my opinion, all these need to be outlawed and shut down and all that stuff destroyed. I mean, why are we trying to be more efficient into killing each other? Why develop a disease that will kill most of the people on this planet? Why would you even, I still don't see a purpose in that. I see a purpose in finding a disease and then studying it and seeing about making a vaccine for it. But to create new ones, to make them stronger and harder to be vaccinated, it's probably not the correct word, but you know what I'm saying. It's just something that the world just don't need. We really don't. I mean, we have enough of the destructive weapons that destroyed property and life. I mean, all these infectious diseases, people are getting greedy. They're just wanting to kill people without destroying the property because they don't want to have to rebuild it after if they win. Like if they have a vaccine, of course, most people when they develop a infectious disease, they try to develop the vaccine so they can use it against you and then have a vaccine to get through it. Rusty, you are a busy person. Busy, busy, busy. Rusty sent me a list of, he sends me things all the time, and very fascinating stuff. All of it is. And I played one of the videos the other night, Walter Cronkite and the Global Federalist. So it happens when you have the dealing with my dentures. Can't talk right anymore. But anyways, I was going to go through the list of how all these people are intertwined in politics and mainstream news and corporations and all these even charities, how they get involved in all this. And it's all about controlling us. They literally think we're sheep. I don't know about you guys, but I ain't no sheep. And I think that's the big wrench in everything is even though there's a lot of sheep in this country, there's a whole lot of us that isn't. And this election kind of like proves it in a way that's never been proven before about you can't just do what you want and don't expect something to happen back to you. Because, our motto is don't start nothing, there won't be nothing. Well, they draw the line in the sand and we crossed it. They're not going to control us like they think they are. As I tell a few people every now and then, this ain't going to end the way you think it is. It's not going to be a good day for them. Paul Harvey. That is the rest of the story. Turn the page. Yeah, I like Paul Harvey. I enjoyed his stories. A lot of human interest. It was he was, at least by all accounts publicly, he was a good person. I didn't know him personally. Yeah, Rusty. True, very, very true. But in that video where he was doing his little speech, where he's talking about, well, now that I'm not no longer going to be in journalism, I can say how I feel finally. Unlike today's news outlets, they tell you how they feel before they retire. You hear about how they feel every day of the week. You know how much, how they feel in their positions on every single thing. So times have changed, which in a way, that's a good thing that they throw that out there. They are so elitist and emboldened that they think they can say it straight to your face and almost be like, what are you going to do about it? Huh? You ain't shit. What are you going to do about it? Here's what I think about you all. You know what I mean? They're just that arrogant, but they just forget that this country was founded by individuals who didn't really ask for much, just wanted an opportunity to live their life eh, without doing any harm to anybody else, just to be left alone. Everybody has a certain amount of rules they have to follow. That's just the way it is. But to just live our lives and not be preached or talked down to. And, it seems every election cycle they keep changing that. Like they used to say, um, non-college educated voters. Now they say if you haven't been to college, you're just uneducated. Basically, they're telling you, hey, mobile mechanic, they're telling you that if you go through the public school system or if you went to a private school, I don't know, I don't judge, uh, that you're still stupid by the time you get out of 12th grade and graduate. You're just still stupid. It's like you don't know any better. Bless your heart, they're gonna tell you how you need to think and feel. Let's see where I start constantly normal that we system for transparency. Yeah, I'm always for transparency there. Um, so a lot of people was asking me the other day about how things are here in Springfield, Ohio. Well, just like parts of the rest of the country, uh, we have some people who are doing some self deportation. You cannot find a U-Haul around here to rent. If you needed one badly, you just couldn't do it. Uh, they're all being rented out right now because there's a lot of people moving out of this town at this point. Not all of them, because we have a gang element in this town that nobody in the mainstream news seems to be talking about. I've mentioned this several times. There is a Haitian gang element that is known for, human trafficking, prostitution, and is stockpiling firearms. And knowing how they handle themselves in their own country back in Haiti, they're not above, definitely not above killing you, but not above or unaliving you. I'm sorry for the YouTube gods, but unaliving you or kidnapping, extortion of some kind, just whatever it'll take to keep them from being sent home. So that's, and I've been saying that for at least a month and a half now about here. But now, all of a sudden, since Trump won, instead of just talking about the Aurora, Colorado apartment complexes being taken over by the Venezuelan gangs, or the Chicago street gangs fighting with the Venezuelan gangs there, you now have like Tennessee. Uh, they now have major Venezuelan gangs in four major cities in Tennessee right now. And yeah, Jeff, that's what I'm saying. That I'm getting ready. There is, I think, 16 states here that they claim that there is not just a presence of gangs, but a serious presence of these foreign gangs, and all because of the southern border. These ain't terrorists. I mean, they probably considered terrorists, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. But these are all people who were allowed to come across the southern border. And in our case here in Springfield, they were even brought here legally through the temporary protective status and a refugee status. What's that? Oh, okay. Yes, Nancy, there is potential trouble in the horizon here. Absolutely. Not just here, but amongst these 16 states or so that they claim is a serious gang presence now because of the southern border. And I'll list them here. I wrote them down just to make sure. Of course, California, Nevada, Montana, unearthed them. Wyoming, Colorado, Texas, Wisconsin, Illinois, Tennessee, who I just mentioned, Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, Virginia, and New York. And they did not include Ohio because I guess in Ohio it's just our little area right here, so it's not enough to be considered a serious gang presence. So these are the first people that I'm sure Tom Homan will go after, as they should. And this is, I worry about the ICE agents and the other authorities that are going to be involved in removing these people. It's not going to be a walk in the park. It's going to be very dangerous. There is a high potential of life lost, which I hope I'm wrong. I hope they decide that it's not worth fighting for and allow them to be deported. Yes, Steve, let me tell you a little story. You're talking about them not, this person not having any charges pressed against them there. I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat, people. Uh, so people were asking me a while back, and I did a video on it. How, because supposedly once you get so many misdemeanors or a felony, you're supposed to be deported. You're no longer accepted under that temporary protective status. So, saying that, we followed a person's traffic record. And when I say record, I don't mean like the court records, because the court records lied. But this individual was known for at least three accidents. Actually, it's sorry, two accidents and a high speeding ticket and a school zone, I think it was. He was doing like almost 60 mile an hour in a 25 mile an hour zone. So, but every time this individual went to court, and it's public record, and in the public records, it tells you how many violations this person has had. And all three times he went to court, it said zero violations in the court records. This person could never be deported if he's never held accountable for his previous transgressions of not being able to drive. And that's just traffic violations. Once you get so many traffic violations, then it is the same as anything else. And breaking other laws, you can be deported. So I hope that when President Trump gets in office, and I hope J.D. Vance and a few others investigate our local judges and our mayor and some other councilmen on our city council, and hold them accountable for what's happened to our town. I really hope they do. Well, Nancy, hopefully, with the so many people moving out who are renting U-Hauls and leaving town, uh, our housing crisis will subside a little bit, and people can start getting back in homes. And these people who have been price gouging the rent because of them using these houses as bunk houses and charging an exuberant amount of rent. I mean, unbearable amount of rent. There's no way a person or two people in a family working, especially with the wages around here, can't afford to pay this kind of rent. So they're living with family members or they're homeless. So, that's hopefully things will start turning around here. Hopefully the police department, hopefully they know as much about this gang situation as I do. They should. I mean, if I know it, they should know it. So it's like I'm nobody special, and this is it's kind of one of those everybody knows kind of things, but nobody really talks too much about it. Uh, I've had I've got personal knowledge of it. Otherwise, I wouldn't mention it. I wouldn't put it out here on the internet if I thought it was just hearsay. I have personal knowledge of this. Otherwise, I would not even mention this. So, just saying that. I wanted to play a little video of our fearless leader this week. Because I kind of like trying with this. I'm working on learning how to do all this stuff, guys. So I'm trying to learn how to bring up videos and play them, and I'm trying my best to do it right. And but so I wanted to play a little video of our fearless leader, who has supposedly been the one to give the order to change policy and allow Ukraine to shoot the missiles into Russia that they did. So saying that, let me see if I can bring this up real quick. Little little quick video. Now I accidentally cut it off a little bit earlier, but he obviously, if you guys could tell, he was nodding off there, falling asleep at some function. And it seems funny when he did a statement the other day about all this. He was in the woods somewhere, and then Kamala is partying up in Hawaii. I think they say it is. They showed her partying up down in Hawaii somewhere, I believe. So who's running the country? I mean, come on. I mean, it's almost a joke anymore to say that, but it's scary too. I mean, I want my president and my vice president uh, to at least be in a position where they can touch base with all the people that they got working on all these things for them, to at least be in office working and not phoning it in from some remote location somewhere. I mean, I just expected more. And what gets me is the people on the left who think this is just fine. It is okay. And still have the audacity to keep. The funny thing that I've seen that they say a lot of is, I hope you're happy you voted for this. I hope you're happy you voted for this. Well, yeah, that's why I voted for this, you dumbass. That's the dumbest shit I ever heard anybody say, is I hope you're happy you voted for it. Well, he ain't even done nothing yet. So it'd be different if we can say that about Biden. I hope y'all happy y'all voted for this stuff. There's some really, RFK is correct, guys. There's something in our water and in our food that really is lowering the IQ of a lot of people in this country, because there is some serious adult retardation going on. And I know that's not politically correct, but I think we can get past that going forward, if that's okay with y'all. Bullets flying. Yeah. Yeah, Nancy, that the Haitian violence, that's why when people act like, oh, these are all good people that are here. Seriously, are you that ignorant that you think everybody you sent over here is good people? I mean, it's obvious they didn't vet them. I mean, we have a spike in like HIV cases in this town. It's from the people that's under the temporary protective status. It's not locals. It's the spike is all of them coming over here already infected. Which it's here. It's not a as life threatening as it was at one time, but still, they. And I want to say this in a nice way. I've done a lot of studying, and I've talked to more and more people. Ever since Donald Trump said they've been eating the cats and the dogs here, um, they eat each other over there, and there's plenty of eyewitnesses that has been on camera now, and I don't know why the mainstream news still says that there's no evidence of anything. I mean, there seriously is now. Uh, but when you have a country, this is what's funny. They say it's 70% Catholic, 30% Christian, but 100% uh, voodoo. That sounds kind of funny to hear that, but in all reality, it's not that. It's 60 to 70% practice. They call it something else, but it's basically voodoo. And cats is part of their ritual. It's not a question. It's not fake news. It's not trying to push some kind of false narrative. There's plenty of documentaries on it. I mean, it is what it is. So you cannot say that if there's 20,000 people here from that country, that some of them didn't come over here and are still practicing that religion. Now, to hear them talk, because it's taboo to talk about it. So, and I'm sure if you guys watch a bunch of the idiot YouTubers that came through here trying to interview everybody and their brother on the sidewalks, they'll interview some Haitians that can barely speak English, and they'll ask them about eating the cats and the dog. No, 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 no. Don't know nothing about that. Don't know nothing about that. And they'll mention voodoo or whatever. No, 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 no. Know nothing about that. Seriously, it's it's almost ridiculous to think that that's if you think that's not happening, uh, then it requires a little bit of critical thinking and saying stuff like it's like you got to play the odds on this. That's why I say 70%, 60 to 70% practice that religion over there. It's it's just what they do. So, and they're very unruly people. They're very rude people. There's some nice ones, don't get me wrong, because not everybody's like that. But there's far more of the ones that are hard to deal with than there are of the nice ones here. And you won't get the truth out of any of them. You really won't. Because they don't want to be, you know, looked at in a bad light, especially the ones that's been here for a while now. You get the ones that's been here since like 2017, 2018. Uh, they just want to keep their head down and stay out of trouble. And you speak to them, and they'll completely call all this a lie and false narrative and all this other stuff. You know, it's one of those things where okay, so you almost can't blame them, but still, it just proves that you're willing to lie about it to stay out of the spotlight. You know, that's the problem with most people today. Now, let me rephrase that. I can't say most people. I apologize for saying most people. A lot of people today, lying has become so easy that people don't recognize the truth anymore. And it's a sad thing. It really is. It's a sad thing. Um, I mean, we get lied to every night on TV by our news outlets. And it's one of those deals where, and it's kind of hard to. I love it when somebody gets, I don't know if you call it black pilled, red pilled, whatever you want to call it, that spend years thinking it's been one way, and then just out of curiosity start doing a little research themselves, and then all of a sudden it's like once you see it, you can't unsee it anymore. So it's like once you can't unknow it, and you start seeing things, you start recognizing things that you would not recognize as a lie before because you did not expect them to be lying to you. You know what I mean? You didn't expect them to be lying to you. But once you realize and find out that, well, I know that's a lie because I researched that over here and I know exactly what went on here, and they're not telling the whole truth. And so once you get to that point, the world is tainted to you. And it's a sad thing to feel like that. This is how come our government has gotten to the place it is today, because we spent many years, at least I did, thinking that government knows best. We put them in office because they want to serve this country, and you know a lot of them are, and I say, like I just said, you're uneducated if you ain't college graduate, but a lot of them are college graduates or whatever, lawyers, judges, doctors. So you think, okay, you can go to work, you can earn a living, you can raise your family. The people that you put in power got this. And then you wake up one day and realize they don't have this. They ain't no, they're no smarter than us. And in a lot of cases, they're not as smart as us. So then you start worrying about how in the world is our country running, period. And then you realize, well, it's not. We're so far in debt, it's unreal. We poke our noses in everybody's business all across this world. We think we're the world's police, and we really shouldn't be. I mean, it's one thing to step in and help negotiate a peace thing. It's another thing to step in and try to tell somebody how to run their country. Um, Unless you see some serious atrocities, and then it would have to be something like NATO to agree on that something ought to be done, but not America. not us. So, don't mean to be long winded on this subject, but when you wake up and realize these people do not have your best interest at heart and could care less about you, could care less about your family. I mean, it's funny how they push abortions and basically are telling you that the women of this country shouldn't have children anymore, shouldn't get married, should hate men, all these da 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 da. But then they let in all these third world countries of all these people who still have family units and have children. So basically, they don't want us to have children in a family. They want a new group of people in here that they can control because education is power. And I ain't talking college education. I'm just talking about educating yourself on how this government is run and how it's treating its U.S. citizens. So we've become powerful again, and they don't like it. So they tried to bring in another whole population of people that would offset. They had their people who will believe them no matter what. And I learned a long time ago, and I can't think of the name of it. You have people that, they say that there's certain requirements for a person, some trait in their mind or body or whatever, that a person can be hypnotized, and there's other people who cannot be hypnotized. So, saying that, I believe that the portion of people, and I don't want to say they're hypnotized, but I believe they have those mind traits, those mindsets that they can be duped, and they just take it hook, line, and sinker. And no matter what you say to them, because it didn't come from those news outlets or that government official they voted in, you're a liar. You don't know what you're talking about. You're stupid. You're uneducated. And let's be honest, half, I think more than half them are just as uneducated as the rest of us. So how they ever come up with that and made that a legitimate argument is kind of silly. But once again, look who we're arguing against. So, you know, I really didn't get off on too many straight up topics tonight, did I, guys? I just been talking about what's on my mind right now. I keep saying I try to write down these structured things, just talking points, not what to say, just talking points, like stuff like knowing about which states are having a serious gang problem and stuff like that. But sometimes you just gotta just talk about how you feel about something. And I know we've all heard it before. This is like, I hate to say it, we're almost like an echo chamber because a lot of like-minded people here. Maybe not 100%, but that's what's so good about people that are considered to be on the right. We're not all thinking exactly the same way. We have our own thoughts and ideas. Like, we may not all, and it's kind of weird because a lot of people, like, if you like if a person on the right says they're pro-choice, then I've seen some people on the right says, well, you can't be on the right because conservatives are pro-life or anti-abortion, not pro-choice. But that's not necessarily always the case. Because I always used to say, and I'm not talking about that particular subject, but years ago, I used to say I was socially liberal and economically conservative or fiscally conservative. But as I've gotten older, I've kind of leaned a whole lot further to the right than the middle. But I still consider myself in the middle on a lot of things, and I tell you why I do that. I consider myself in the middle because I'm willing to listen, and I understand that in a country this size, we all are not going to come to the same place at the same time with certain subjects or topics. So even though it may be something that I would not 100% agree with, but I also don't find it arbitrarily so far left or wrong that I don't disagree with your right to feel that way too, then we ought to take those subjects that we kind of don't agree with, but we can uh, live with as far as compromise. Now, saying that, how they've treated us over the last 8 years, I don't want to compromise with these people. I really don't. I I could care less. I mean, I hope we stay in a position that we don't need their votes for anything to get something done in Congress. And I don't really care about their opinions anymore because they never cared about mine. So I'm to that point to where I've said it before. Don't want your help. Don't need your help. All I want you to do is shut up, sit on the sidelines. When if they do what they promised us they were going to do, then you can thank us later when your life improves, whether you want to unbegrudgingly or not. And I hope that the grown-ups in office will make everybody's life as best as you can. Can't please everybody, but as best as we can make the majority of this country uh, better off. So, saying that, uh, most of the people on the left can go F themselves. I don't really care. I don't need them to be my friends because they never want to be mine. And my family, we have people on both sides, and we get along. Uh, we uh, we disagree. Uh, we disagree. And when it comes to politics, a couple of my family members. I mean, like I've got an aunt that blocks me on Facebook, but when we are in family functions and visit with each other, we have no problems with each other. She just doesn't want to see my political views on her Facebook feed, and I get it, because, uh, but she's one of those typical lefties who don't want to talk about, don't want to have a conversation. You know, your point of view is evil. There's something wrong with you with your point of view if you're on the right. Uh, so they don't look at no self, inflection or reflection of themselves. Sorry. say that correctly. So they can go after themselves. It's the way I see it. They don't like it. What are they gonna do about it? Because they surely has really. I don't know about you guys, but I felt like they have really tried to make us less than for something that they claim we try to do to people, being fascist and racist and every other foul name and uh, whatever to dehumanize another group of people. Oh, they do that. They're so good at it. They are experts at that. I mean, really. I mean, I sometimes you just gotta go. You just you're just in the zone with that, aren't you? That's the way they are. They're just in the zone with it. Guys, I was gonna talk about you now that Matt Gaetz is not going to be the Attorney General, which I wanted Matt Gaetz to be in there. I kind of like Matt Gaetz. But Pam Bondi, I mean, I've seen her a lot on Fox News over the years and talking about, the stuff that, like the fentanyl crisis and all that other stuff that's important to her. It's her passion. Um, what do you think Matt Gaetz wants to do now? I have my opinion of what I think he's going to do. Uh, what do you guys think? I mean, do you think this was truly a case of Trump really wanted him in there, but then the baggage was too heavy? He had too many people that didn't like him because Matt Gaetz is one of those people that just don't give a crap. He's got no filter. And of course, in politics, you create your enemies that way. But saying that, I mean, do you think that this was just something that was bound to happen or something that they'd already planned on happening? They knew it was going to happen. And get, what they call it, 40 chest. 40, I say chess, 40 chess. Of course, I don't play chess, so. But yeah, Rusty, here's my thoughts on this. And whether it's intentional or not, sorry, guys, I got a cold. So I know he still can take back his seat in Congress because nobody has been placed in that position. He just gave it up, so he's still, uh, what is it, congressman elect or whatever. But there you go, Nancy. That's what I was getting ready to say. I believe that Matt Gaetz is going to take Mark Rubio's place in the Senate. That's what I think. Rusty, I don't know how Mitch McConnell has any political clout left at all. I mean, it is a swamp just that thick that they protect this dude like that. I mean, he's done a horrible job, uh, and you. Of course, I say that in some cases, he'll do something and go home. Oh, yeah, okay. But most of the cases that stuff that he's involved with, it's just no. Uh, he's thinking of the donors. He's not thinking of us. Yeah, Don, that's what I'm saying. We got to get rid of the rhinos. And here's the thing about this. This is a whole new world. Um, hey, no, hey, they're only 7 once. Birthdays are good. Um, Trump didn't know who the swamp was. He knew there was a swamp, but he didn't have all their names. You know what I'm saying? Because he's a businessman. He's dealing with who he's dealing with for his real estate dealings and all this stuff that he dealt with, that he has to deal with. Yeah, and I know you're right, Rusty. That's what I was just get ready to say. We all know who they are now. There's no curtain they can hide behind. The curtain has been pulled back. Now all we got to do is rip the band-aid off and let them bleed out and get them out of there. We need to make it uncomfortable for them to be there. You also, if they want to survive politically, I mean, I've heard already there's some rumors of some of them saying behind closed doors that they're not going to support President Trump's agenda, blah, blah, blah. Well, then that's their choice. Uh, the thing is, today, they're not going to last long. Uh, Whenever it's time for them to come up for a re-election, they can get primaried and just get rid of them. But I was saying that. Have you noticed how many? And it's not all politicians. It's funny because there's some. Uh, I've seen some YouTubers and some mainstream media people. Uh, all of a sudden, act like they never said that Trump was the second coming of Hitler, or that he was going to round up all LGBTQ plus 4.5, whatever, and kill them. That there's one of the kind of the most asinine things I've heard people on TikTok claiming that they're scared for their lives now because them and their friends are going to be round up and killed. Where did they hear that? I don't even think I heard that on mainstream fake news. There might be some hints to it on the crazy shows like MSNBC, like Joy Reid or something, but not on regular mainstream news. I don't think I've heard silly stuff like that. If they only realized how liberal President Trump really is, uh, they would feel foolish. Let's see here. I really think Trump is be going to be put early, and the military is going to be going to be. I really think Trump is going to. I don't get what you're saying there. You know, that's been a thing in this week's news about, oh, Trump's going to use the military for this mass deportation thing. But saying that, y'all remember back in, was it 2019? I'm thinking it was, when uh, I believe it was the Florida Governor DeSantis sent those 50 immigrants up to Martha's Vineyard, and 50 in one of the richest places, other than in California, one of the richest places in the country. And they literally called in the National Guard to have them removed and put in a holding facility on a military base so they could get them transported out to different areas wherever they want to eventually send them. But yet, if you hear mainstream news, how horrible it is Trump's going to use the military to help with this mass deportation, when literally your most elitist, most arrogant people in the country did that very thing for just 50 migrants. You can't make this shit up. You just cannot make this shit up. I mean, it's like, good Lord. If it wasn't so serious, it would make you laugh for the rest. I mean, I'd probably be laughing all the way till Monday morning. Although I probably would upchuck at this point because I'm sick, but I would probably still be laughing till Monday morning. But it's just so serious that we got to just keep them out of it. Uh, Not try to negotiate with anybody on the left. Tell them to step aside. You don't like it? Yeah. You have the opportunity to vote somebody in 4 years that you think might do a better job. But hopefully by then there'll be even more people. If Trump does a good enough job, our next president will be J.D. Vance. Who it will be after that, I don't know. But I don't know. Any of you guys watch Piers Morgan, Uncensored? It's so funny to watch, and I think they do that 2 second delay on purpose to get people to talk over each other to make it sound more chaotic than it really is. But they had the guy on there who put together this white dudes for Harris. I guess he was on there being interviewed, and literally they have learned nothing. I mean, because it's like I think Pierce said something about, well, it was a landslide, it was it was a wipeout or whatever you want to call it, and the guy's like, no, it wasn't. He said, well, yeah, it kind of was. You think the next president, not J.D. Vance, you think it'll be RFK, Nancy? And it's a possibility. It really is. Uh, I just go by like who's, the next person in line, which would be the vice president. If everything's done and normal status quo thing. But anyways, back to what I was saying. I get off on these tangents. Sorry, guys. But the guy was trying to say that it was no landslide. It was, and Pierce tried to explain to him about how long it's been since a Republican has won the popular vote. And, and he tried to say, well, Biden won it by a larger margin than Trump did, and Obama won it by a larger margin than Trump did. And then, Pierce tried to explain to him again, but this is a Republican that won the popular vote, not a Democrat. You got to see the difference, and you got to understand why that is. And he did not want to listen. Toxic masculinity. Men don't know how to get in their feelings anymore. All kinds of stuff. Just these men, these white men. I don't know why they had to be white men for Harris, but whatever. Could have been just men for Harris. They all have a certain type of personality. They all have this, like, the same type of personality, and they lean to the soft side. I hate to say it. I'm a guy. I've never been ashamed of being a guy. I do have a certain amount of masculinity that is probably overbearing to some, I guess. I don't try to. I try to be as thoughtful about everybody's feelings, because they claim that if you're too masculine, you don't have to think about anybody's feelings, which I disagree with. But these are some weak men that they all seem to have the same personality trait. They all like a little soft. And, I can't say all of them are, but just about all the ones I've seen, they're just a little soft. And that equates to being weak. Well, sorry, but the men of this country cannot afford to be weak. We need to cherish the women of this country, protect them. But we also still need to be us. We need to be men. We don't need to try to do some kind of, and it's such the weirdest thing I've seen. Can't remember the commercial where the, I guess it were a gay couple. They adopted a child, and one of them was trying to get the child to, like, suck on the nipple of one of the men's breasts on his chest to give it that sensation of being whatever. I don't know about y'all, but that confuses the shit out of me. I don't really see where that's even necessary. I mean, anybody who probably watches this back, and I'll probably get a bunch of screwed up hate comments the next couple of days about my thoughts about the men and the masculinity problem of this country. Oh, you didn't see that commercial, JD? Yeah, now it's. I want to say it's a couple years old now, but matter of fact, where did somebody read? This is why it come to mind, because it was replayed recently on I want to say X or someplace. I've been on X a lot lately, but I caught it, and that's what it was. It was a man trying to lay the baby on their bare skin and then tried to get it to take the nipple, and it was just I don't know. That just gives me the heebie-jeebies. I just worry about that kind of stuff because am I wrong for getting the heebie-jeebies? Is that my fault? Is that my problem? Or is it just normal that just seems that weird to me that it just gives me the ick? Uh, you know, I don't know. I don't think it's a necessity in this life to do that. Thanks, JD. What time is it, guys? Been on here almost an hour and a half. That's pretty good. Think I'm gonna call it. Not feeling well. I need to take some medication, lay down. I'll something pops up. I've been I tried to I made a video. I don't know if you guys seen it yesterday, but I made that video like early in the day, and because of my laptop and everything, it took I want to say at least 7 tries because it kept corrupting the file. You know what, Nancy? My mom used to tell me to man up. So, if I have a toxic masculinity problem, you can blame that on my mother because she was a tough lady. But, anyways, what was I just saying? Um, oh, the video I made yesterday, which didn't get out till 2:30 this morning or whatever. I had made that earlier in the day, but because of the deal with my laptop and the amount of storage that I can have, and I keep emptying out storage, and it keeps corrupting files, and it just takes so long for me to actually get something uploaded to YouTube that I hate to go live unannounced because people jump on and I only do that because when I do it unannounced, it's because I want to make the video because I don't rehearse them. I just want to talk about something. So, but to me, live is not the best way to do it anymore. And then if you don't catch it, you can watch the recording of it. But saying that, I do have my 2 scheduled live streams every week. Tuesday night, Wednesday mornings at 1 a.m., my night owl edition. And then, of course, every Friday, 6:30. And I've been doing them over both my channels simultaneously. So it's on my Jimmy Pockets channel and my Empty Pockets Garage channel at the same time. So in case you've noticed that, for those who might be subscribed to both channels, uh, it just seemed like the smart thing to do because I'm trying to grow my other channel and it's not really taking off like I wanted it to. So saying that, this channel here has all the notoriety of being the channel that went viral. So I say this channel, I'm on both channels, but the Empty Pockets Garage channel. But anyways, if you don't see me in a video before then, I'll catch you guys later on in the week. Right now, I'm going to go I'm gonna go crash early. Stay hydrated. Yeah, I feel like crap. Of course, it's the weather changing. We've had snow and freezing rain, and I live. My house is 1892 was when it was built, and even though it's not horribly drafty, it's not sealed either. Not like a modern home is. So, anyways, and I'm dumb enough. I sat down here without wearing a hoodie because where I'm sitting at is like the cold part of my room. But thanks everybody for stopping in. I don't know how much I can say this, but how I appreciate it, and that you guys keep coming back. Rusty, your information is invaluable to me, and you send me so much. I keep wanting to get to it, and I get off on these ramblings or something that may happen that's current, that's like right today, and I don't get to it like I want to. But saying that, unless something happens to me in the near future, we'll be able to dive into all the stuff, at least 80% of the stuff that you send me that we can discuss on the live streams. I mean, it's really good stuff. You do your due diligence. I give you that. And, it's, I may be on here doing this live. It's people like you that help me find my information. And, you can't look everywhere, or you don't have, like a lot of us, like, not getting off on my personal medical stuff, but I've been a little bit busy with my medical stuff lately that I don't have time to sit down and investigate certain things like I want. So when you send me stuff like that, and it gives me a place to go straight to and then research right then and there, I was like, it's invaluable to me. It truly is. So I do highly appreciate that more than you can imagine. But thanks, JD. I appreciate that. I get to talking on here, guys. I feel like some old dumb hick sometimes because I don't speak as eloquently as a lot of people do. Uh, but I like to think I'm not stupid too. So, I like to think of how I think or how I'm feeling about something is what most of us are going through the same thing. So, if we're just one big community of seeing the same things. Sometimes some of us will see something that the rest of us don't. And it's nice when it's brought to our attentions, as Rusty does for me. But anyways, I appreciate you. If you would, subscribe to me if you don't already. Of course, about everybody on here probably does. Share it. And I love comments, as you guys can tell. A lot of times I may just I'll acknowledge to you that I've read it. In some cases, if it's a question, I always try to answer or at least comment back and talk to you about whatever it may be about. Thanks, JD. Hey, Stephanie. Janice, you ain't said much. At least I ain't seen you say much tonight. All right, guys. This is Jimmy Pockets, a.k.a. James, of Empty Pockets Garage. Until next time.